Okay, it works. Good morning, everyone. Are you ready to start this first workshop organized by Robagri, which is entitled Towards Safe and Reliable Robots? That is to say, proposing new tools for agriculture. If you are ready, we can start. And I will start with a short introduction in order to give you some key points about the activity of the Robagri associations and the scientific laws which are still present in order to develop robotics in agriculture. So as an introduction, we can see that robotics in agriculture is quite important because agriculture is confronted to a kind of paradox because it has to feed growing worldwide populations, and we have to reduce the use of pesticide and of chemical products in order to reduce the environmental impact. The robotics can help to do that because if we want to find alternative solution in order to use treatments to have agricultural process without chemical products, that means that you have to go in the field more often and to make accurate, very accurate works. And then that means that you have to spend a lot of times in the field. That is not possible right now for the moment because you need more and more manpowers. And it's manpowers to do a very difficult job, hard job, and there is an increasing penability. So robotics can be one of the potentiality which permits to go through agroecology and biological agriculture. In fact, there is already a lot of robots in the field and in the farms. You have seen, because we are at the International Forum of Agricultural Robotics, so you have all seen that there is many kind of robots. And you can see by the different robots which are present in the FIRA, you can see that there is a big diversity of applications. So we have a small, okay. I tried the pointer for the first time. It's not so easy. You have a big diversity of applications and things to do. So you can see in the city hall the small T-Boss robots. So it's just to move inside the farm and to move chickens, to make chickens moves and so on. So very small robots. There is middle-sized robots. Of course, we are in Toulouse, so you can see Dino robots, also inside the hall. So it's a robot which is dedicated to go through the fields and to have a weed removal task. So here we have about, I'm not familiar with the remote control. So we have robots of about 10 kilograms, we have robots about 500 kilograms, and at the opposite we have very large robots such as the Case Magnum examples, which is a robot which is used as an automated tractor. And in fact the idea is that it's able to do exactly the same things than a conventional tractor, but without cabs and without people. But these few examples show that if you want to manage robotics in agriculture, you have many different kind of terrain with different kind of shape. So you can be indoor, you can be outdoor. You can be in wet conditions, you can be in dry conditions, you can have sunny sky, you can have rainy sky. So it's a very huge collection of different conditions, and the robot has to adapt to that. The robot has also to adapt himself to different kind of works. We have seen that we can try to move chickens. We can also follow people to help them doing things. We can do mowing, we can do planting, we have different kind of velocity, we have different kind of tool and implements to use. So there is very huge collections and a very huge collection of tasks to do and very huge collections of environment in which we have to move. So in order to address all these kind of conditions, it is difficult. There is some scientific locks. And one of the first scientific locks is that the robots have to take into account this variability and the diversity of the task and the diversity of the fields. So I've put some example, mainly issued from RobAgri associations and the partners that are present in the RobAgri associations. So we see, for instance, the project PUMAGRI, where the robots have to move in the row using a laser. At the end of the row, it has to achieve an off-turn, so you can't use laser anymore, so you have to switch from laser-based trajectory following to have an absolute trajectory following. You have to plan. And then you have to decide and to select different kind of behaviors with respect to the space, so where you are in the field, and with respect to the situations, what you have to do. It's about the same about the Adapt the project. We have one robot which is following a row of vegetation, so it's artificial vegetation right now, which can make spraying, and we have an association with a second robot, so we have also to take decisions. Do we have a structure to follow using a LiDAR, or do we have not? Do we have a second robot or not? Do the second robot must be on the side of the first robot or one behind the other? So you have many decisions to take, and this is still scientific locks because we have not yet totally solved the problem of decision making in unexpected contexts and dynamical contexts such as we have in agriculture. One of second important scientific locks is the safety, how to preserve safety and integrity of the robot, how to be sure that there is nothing in front of the robot. So there is still progress to do, maybe in the numerical terrain model in order to see the geometry in front of the robot, since the robot has to know what is in front of him in order to take a decision if the space in front of the robot can be a crossover or not. So we have a lot of works in the last in these topics. We have also to take the dynamical effect of the robots. What are the maximal velocity you can move in order to preserve the stability? So we have an example with the XTEAM laboratory and IRSTEA about one result of Active30T project. So it's top. Okay. Yeah, it's not easy. Here, where we find the maximal velocity with respect to preserve the stability and the controllability of the robot. Because of the grip conditions, you can turn very fast, and this can lead to a spin around or loss of controllability or steering actuator saturations. We have also to decide at a given moment what is the maximal speed to cross a geometry. So here you can see that we are doing research in our RobAgri about the maximal velocity to cross a hole, or the maximal velocity to cross these things, these obstacles is 0 because you have too much angle to change, and then you can to avoid it. We have also research led by ISIR at Paris about reconfigurable robots and wheel leg robots, which permits to adapt the position of the center of gravity, the elevation of the center of gravity, with respect to obstacle. This is okay. Yeah, this is basically done by deep learning, and using simulation, the robot is crossing some nominal obstacles. He learns how to change the position of the leg with respect to this obstacle, with respect to the sensor which are onboarded. So basically, it's forces sensor. And then when you have done all the learning thanks to simulations, you can go through to actual experiments using the Compio robot that you see here, and the robot here is able to change the position of the wheel with respect to the terrain geometry. to preserve the stability and to preserve the horizontal positioning of the robot. Okay, so this is the second one of the main scientific logs. The third one that we have identified in RobAgri is how to interact with soft objects. How can you do the interactions of an implement with respect to the vegetation, with respect to the soil, because the main task in agriculture is to have interaction and to do something on the fields. And you can see, we will go on this topic this afternoon, but you can see that mainly this is addressed nowadays. Then you have a mobile platform which moves. It stops, and then you have a manipulator robots or arm robotics, which are doing things and which are not directly take the vegetables, but which have developed some specific mechanical design in order to permit that. We have also research on how do you manage, so it's at l'IRM at Montpellier, how we manage the cooperations between the contact of a human and the motion of a mobile manipulator. I guess this is quite important if you want to start working with cooperations between human and robots. And this is precisely one of the fourth scientific logs, which is mainly based on man-machine interactions and with coordination of multiple robots. Because if we want to take benefit of the robotics in agriculture, maybe using sole robots will not be sufficient. One way, as I've shown just before, is to consider that we will go through the automatic tractor, and we say, okay, instead of having a manually controlled tractor, we will have an automatic tractor, and we will do exactly the same kind of agriculture that we are doing now. A second possibility is to take part of the robot's capability and say, okay, instead of having big machines, we can have several small machines which are able to connect themselves to each other, which are able to do things more slowly because it's robotic time, so a robot has all the time you need. It's not the case for a human. And then there is many researchers about the human-robot interactions, how to supervise a robotic task, how to help robots when they will be in difficult situations, because it's clear that at a given moment, robots won't be able to do everything by itself. At a given moment, he won't be able to understand what happens, and it is preferable that he has to ask human what to do. He don't have to do that every 5 minutes because it won't be applicable. But sometimes it's, I'm sure that it's much better than robots cannot take a decision and the human has to take the decisions. But the robot has to know at which moment he can't take this decision by itself. I'm not sure that I'm totally clear. You understand? Sorry once again for my bad English. And another thing also is to enhance the autonomy of robots. One of important thing is to see the scene from different view. If you stay at the robot level, you won't be able to know everything in the environment, and it will be difficult to take some decisions. One interesting thing is to have a cooperations between robots on the Earth, but also between robots in the air, and robots on the soil. And there is several projects, so with LAS and ONERA in the PEA action of cooperation. So it's not for agriculture, it's for military applications, but we have some connection between military and agriculture anyway. And there is a cooperation between aerial robots, which are able to see what's going on Earth, and how they exchange information with respect to terrestrial robots. And there is another project which is lead in Georgia Tech Lorraine about cooperation. So it's also a European project with DeepField. About cooperation between a drone. I don't know if you see it well. Okay. So there is a drone which is taken the movie of a second drone. So the second drone is here. You are able to see it? Okay. And it's just above the robot. And it permits to take some pictures and to say, okay, you have to do things there, there, and there. So there is a planification. This permits to the terrestrial robots to actually do things. Okay, so we see that there is some scientific logs. We have still some jobs to do in research, so it's good for me, since I am a researcher. And there is this collection of hot topics we have to go further in order to enhance the autonomy of robots and permit the robots to move in different kind of environments, and which gives the robots the possibility to make several kind of things and address all the problem of agriculture. But there is also some social questions, some societal questions on is robots can be applied in the farm. What are the conditions which will permit to the robots to go into the farms and to be used by farmers? So the problem of the cost of machines, maybe if you use several robots, if you have to develop a new technology, it won't be exactly the same prices than conventional machines, even if it's not to do the same thing exactly. The acceptability, are the farmers will be okay to use robots? Are they know how to control robots, to interact with robots? So you have to develop user-friendly interfaces. And you have also the problem of tuning the robots and ensuring the maintenance. There is very few differences between a good tuning of controller, of perception algorithm, which permits to the robots to work properly, and a bad parameterization, which made the robot fail the mission. Another big question, societal question, is how the use of robots will impact agricultural process. Oh, sorry, there is still some French. How we organize a farm in order to welcome robots, and how the use of robots will impact how the agriculturals will do. Another question is, are the robots efficient in the process? In terms of agronomy, is there an interest of using robots? Do they do an efficient task? And another point is how to put the robots on the market. So what about the commercializations? We have to ensure that robots are safe. We are to ensure that the robots will move without hurting people, without destroying the environment around them. And this is to ensure safety, but we are also to find some metrics in order to see if robots are really efficient. And if we want to commercialize robots, such as we commercialized agricultural machines today, there is performances evaluations, and we say, okay, we go through this test, so we can say that this machine is efficient or not, and it should be the same thing for the robot. We have also to see how we manage the legal aspects, what is the legislation regarding the use of the robots. Are they able to, can we move on the road? So for instance, autonomous vehicles are not allowed to go on the road in France, only on some part of highway, and you have to have a special plate and special license. Will it be the same for the robots? How will manage the update of the robot, upgrade? Because, of course, technological aspects will go away, will go on, will progress, sorry. And we have to change the robot, to upgrade the robot, such as you update your phone, in order to permit to have the best accuracy and the best efficiency as we want. So in order to investigate all these aspects, so the scientific aspects, technological aspects, societal aspects, we have decided in France to create an association which is named RobAgri. So RobAgri, you have the president, Jean-Michel Lebars, who is here. So at the end of the talk, hey. So at the end of the talk or during the day, you can ask some questions, and we have also Stéphane Durand, which is which is in charge of the project and who developed all the activity. And the objective as RoboAgri associations is to permit to have marketable robotics solutions which are well adapted to the needs of farmers and to the needs of agriculture. And then this means that we have to look at very practical issues. So we have chosen a collection of user cases. And to do these marketable robotics solutions, we can see in the other side that there is still scientific logs. There is some developments that are close to the market, but also some developments that are far from the market and need to have specific effort on that. And in the middle, we have defined the RoboAgri associations, which is here to make networking. So it's the first task, of course, but also to put in common some means, right? Thank you. Some means, so simulation testbed, also testing testbed, so experimental actions, also being able to develop some projects all together. And there is some fundamental activities about the identification of some scientific issues on difficult points. There is action about the state of the art. What are the main advances? There is action about how can we manage a common software architecture in order to have a common framework for controlling the robots and to share some efforts. We have also a lot of action about how we will qualify the efficiency of robots. What are the tests which have to be done? What are the test beds, the infrastructure you have to develop in order to test these robots? There is also a big issue regarding standardization and legal aspects. And one of the objectives of the association is also to put together the idea to propose standards and say, okay, if you want to be safe, authority have to propose this kind of standards, and it's acceptable for us because we have discussed before. And also there is a big action about formation and dissemination in order to promote the robotics in agriculture. So fine, so the associations count 64 members, yes? Because it's increasing day by day, so I look at the presidents to be sure that it's 64. Tomorrow it will be 100, something like that. So do not hesitate to come and discuss with us and to apply also to become a member of RoboAgri, of course. So it exists since 1.5 years, something like that. Yes, and we have start of course, to have some first results, first activities. So at the scientific level, we have developed a mapping of needs, lacks, and competencies, expertises that are present in the framework of RoboAgri with respect to all the members. So there is manufacturers who have competencies and expectations. We have startups, which proposes some robotic solutions. We have suppliers who propose also some solution for some specific points. We have researcher laboratories who are researching and finding sometimes new algorithms and potentially which will be put in the market in the near future. And so we have made this kind of mapping which permits to know who need what and who can propose what and where are the efforts to do in terms of research and development. We are also working on the edition of a position box. So it's a traduction of livre blanc in French. I don't know, I'm not sure of my traduction. And so we expect to edit this kind of books by November for the CIMA show. And we are see if it's possible now to start working about a common framework in order to share control algorithm, perception algorithm, in order to test it in a common way. From a technological point of view, we start working about safety analysis of the robots. So what does it mean putting a robot on the field? What are the safety issues about that? Depending on the shape of the robot, the size of the robot, the mass of the robot, maybe there will be some different testing procedures. So what are the procedures to do in order to check the safety? What are also the test bench we should develop in order to be able to apply this safety analysis? So we have started working to defining infrastructure which permitting to test small robots, big robots, and eventually automated tractor, an evolution process. And so there is some actions. Robagri tries to help in the host challenge, but also Robagri is involved in a project funded by France Agrimaire, so the French Ministry of Agriculture. And this afternoon, you will have a presentation at the end of the afternoon, a presentation dedicated to Agrobo Food Project, which is a digital innovation hub. It's a big European network on the topic of robotics in agriculture. So you have to stay at the end because maybe it is something that could interest all of us who are working in agricultural robots. I just made a small focus on SolRob. The objective of SolRob is to improve the structuration of robotics in agriculture in France and to develop a partnership inside the project. Yes, it's French because I have not the English version, I have just the PDF. And so, unfortunately, it's in French. But for people in the room that do not speak French, you can come with me and I can try to make an approximate translation. But it's in French because it's a national project, so it's just interesting French. And there is some action in this project. It's in two phases. The first phase will end it by June 2020, and the idea is April 2020. And the idea is to work on what are the expectations of the different topics in agriculture. So what are the expectations of farmers? What are the expectations of agronomical aspect? And what can we hope with respect to the introduction of robots? We have some funding to start also the development of a methodology of risk analysis and a first definition of means in terms of testing procedure. So some activities of Robagri can be funded by the development of this France Agrimaire project. And the idea of this study is also to have some precise definition of what we have to do in terms of research and to propose topics for call for projects, for national call for projects. And so the second phase, if we have well worked, will be to put in action this first study and have funds in order to develop calls for project and to build testing bench, and also testing procedure. Okay, so the scientific expertise of Robagri is all around France. In fact, so you have main laboratories which are used, and we can see from the expertise mapping that we are able, in fact, to cover the topics I've tried to introduce you about the scientific laws. We have some works on advanced control, safety, accurate navigation, traversability. It's for the first topic. So if I go deeper in detail, I've tried to do something well. So I have tried to put all the competencies with respect to the laboratory all over France. Of course, Robagri is French associations. So I won't go into Europe. At the end of AgroBoFood, you will have the same cards, but at the European level, but there will be many, many lines more. So the second topics about the mobile manipulation, robot cooperations. You can see the connections. So, it's interesting because all the scientific logs we have seen, you can see that there is at least one laboratory who address one of the topics. We have also some action in active perception, planning, and control architecture. Of course, there is several partners which are working about how to build the testing procedure, how to manage the testing and the test bench of the robots. And also a big action, and in my opinion, it's a very important question and very important issue we have to address, which is not well addressed today, is about what will be the impact of robots in the agriculturing process and how we manage the farmers-robot interactions. And I mean, if you want to develop all the potential of robots for agriculture, we have to take into account this question and very quickly, not only to see what is the need, but what are the conditions that will permit to the farmer to hold the robotics innovation. Okay, so if you want, I guess we can share after the presentation, if you want, the French map about research in the framework of Robagri. It will be possible, I guess. We can put it also on the Robagri website. So in order to see what are the advances in this kind of scientific logs, we organize today, because it's one of the objectives of the Robagri conference. We will investigate today some of these points. So this is the first workshop of Robagri Association. And then we have tried to build 3 sessions, one about the safety of off-road robots, one about the planning, supervision, and control. So the idea is also to see how we manage the complexity and how we are able to adapt the robots to their environment, or a fleet of robots to their environment. There is a third scientific session about interaction and perception, how the robot can interact with the environment, and how we can improve the perception to permit to the robots to take into account for this kind of things. And the last session, which is more on the structuration of the community. So Robagri tries to structure the agricultural robotics community, and we will have 2 presentations about kind of state-of-the-art in a pattern point of view about this technology, and the presentation of AgroBoFood project, which will be done by Frédéric Collet-Dany. So we start right now with the first session about safety of off-road robots, with a keynote of Feras Dayoub, which is a researcher in Queen's University of Technology, and 3 other presentations about the verification of autonomous robots, reliable software, and fraud detections. So I thank you for your attention.